I thought also about what the album is not released, and I guess it demands quite some time for the reviewers. What kind of response do you think you will get aside from those responses that you have already got?
I don't know. I haven't thought about the reaction so far because I'm foremost just so fucking relieved and pleased that to have delivered the album. Since I said in the beginning it was such a struggle to find the motivation to make it, that I'm just, it's like it's out there, I hope you will love it, but I haven't thought about the reaction so far. The reactions I have seen yet are actually very good. Even better than we asked for, or hoped for actually. So, I mean...
Has there been an album which the reactions were not so pleasing for? Has that happened?
Yeah, it does. That happened. Basically every album up until the last one, I think, you know.
Really?
We had a lot of harsh reviews. We'll probably get it for this one as well. That's, you know.
At least those who just listened to the album like 3 times, because I think you need at least 10 times before you start to understand that there is something going
People
on.
should take more time, yeah, definitely.
It is a complex album. Songs like Tear Gas, for example, that was quite catchy by your standards. It was it was a song that was very punchy and had very strong melodies.
Right.
And a song that I suppose you pretty much have to play each gig now.
We do.
Okay. And is that okay for you? Is that boring or?
No, I love the song.
Yeah, you love the song.
I think it's fun to play still. It doesn't get old for me at all. It's, as you said, it's hooky, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the working title was like The Hit or whatever when we wrote the song.
There you go.
You know, yeah.
And that song, I think, did open some doors for you, right?
It did, definitely. I mean, it didn't go on radio or anything, but it definitely is mentioned every time people... yeah, you know, when people come up to me that aren't really Katatonia fans, they're like, yeah, I like your band too, guys. You know, like that, yeah. So, definitely, yeah.
And I think maybe on the last album, My Twin...
yeah, that's the same thing again, yeah.
You mentioned something earlier about inspiration, but you didn't say much about the inspiration. What is it, not exactly, but what is it that inspires you to make more notes, to make more parts that eventually turns into songs?
I think it's very simple. It's the only thing we it's a lifestyle especially for me and Jonas. We don't really do anything else. You know what I mean? We dropped out of school very early and stuff like that. We have shit jobs early on, and then we just made a decision that we rather, you know, make a big sacrifice and stay poor, but do what we really want to do, and that's Katatonia, you know, just do music the whole way, the whole time. So it's like, what else should you do? You know what I mean? We have to do it. We want to do it. That's the only thing we can do.
How long has that been since? When did you make that decision?
That was made probably around Viva Emptiness, when we like, now let's totally go all the way.
Focus on the band.
Yeah.
Oh, about this, you also do Bloodbath, and you have done Diabolical Masquerade.
Right.
Why?
Why I have? I mean, there's a big hunger in me to perform different kind of metal. You know what I mean? Katatonia can only come so far with our style, and then what about the rest? You know, I'm a big fan of black metal. I was a death metal fan before Katatonia formed, so that will be very close in the heart forever. So that's where Bloodbath comes into the picture. You know what I mean? And right now, with having Bloodbath on the extreme side here, and Katatonia, I'm not saying Katatonia is wimpy on side there, but you know what I mean. It's a good spectrum of
So it gives you some balance with
right.
the things,
because it also makes you hungrier once you have completed the Katatonia album. You want to go back and do a Bloodbath album. You know what I mean? So it feeds the others. You know.
One is the reaction on.
It is. It influences each other there. Probably, you know, there's been some riff that sneaked into Katatonia that's been pretty much, you know, heavy as well.
When you're onto that, I think the opening first 10 seconds of the album was like, okay, are we going to get because I read on beforehand that Michael said that this was the heaviest album or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
The best heavy album in the last 10 years.
And then I thought, okay, now Katatonia.
Yeah, the best is the important word there.
Yeah, of course, the best is
Yeah.
important.
The best heavy.
But for me, I hooked onto the heavy because I like heavy metal. I don't like best metal. But and then I thought like, okay, with this was fucking heavy, and I realized after a while that this was the best as well. That is this going to be like more closer to a not death metal album, but still would we see some growls and stuff? And after 10 seconds, you came into and
There we are.
relaxed me, and I felt comfort again.
The trademark came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we said. We said like Forsaker it's the obvious beginning of the album because it just hooks you immediately with that big metallic, whatever, tornado.
Hammer.
Yeah, hammer.
Yeah.
Thank you. And once it got its claws into you, it just releases you again, and there you go. You feel familiar with the Katatonia sound again. I think that song I think that song pretty much sums up in one song the whole album, and also reminds you of the last album a bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound of the band has it evolved very in an interesting way if you consider from Discouragements. Discouragements was very it was quite dreamy in places, and it didn't quite have some of the edge or the crunch of nowadays. And I think really on Last Fair Deal Gone Down, that's when it really kind of became settled. It was what could you say? It was like a heavier production, and the music was very kind of accessible in places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that something that like when you're going to write, is that something you're conscious about? Is that like I mean, would you throw out stuff not because you didn't think it was good enough, as you said before, but because you thought that maybe it didn't really match with what you wanted the sound to be? If it was not quite like like I described how it's been, because it is for me in places very music that has the chance to be very accessible, and often the production can give it a heavier edge, like the opening of the album.
I mean, yeah, and as far as Last Fair Deal Gone Down, I think that's still one of the heaviest productions we ever had. It's like super heavy, a little bit of rough edge to it, but the songs are very musical on that album. A lot more musical than the 2 albums before. I think what we did on that album was really to go musical, because we said like, I remember when writing that album we said let's explore all 6 strings on the guitar.
Right.
And that might not be so obvious, but there's a lot of clean strings dubbed on that album with distorted riffs to give that a little bit of a spark. It's a little bit deeper, bigger, and as I said, going all 6 strings with distortion, that's not common in metal. You know what I mean? It's mostly power chords or 1 string picked. 1 strings picked. Yeah. But we are doing a lot of 6 strings with once you turn the distortion down a little bit, and you put instead like 4, you track the guitars 4 times instead of 2, you will still get the same amount of like the crushing wall sound, so to speak, but it will be bigger sounding. So that's what we really did on that album, and we didn't do that on the albums before. So it just sparkles more,
The Last Fair Deal, was that Sunlight you recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was Sunlight. It was the last thing we did in Sunlight.
Yeah,
and then Sunlight disappeared,
It's finished now.
It's gone. I know Thomas moved out to the... what the fuck do you say in English? Archipelago? Or do you say that? Archipelago? Like the the outskirts of the country. Where the sea comes in,
So that's
he disappeared.
Sunlight's gone. That's
the disappearance. It was like the Last Fair Deal Gone Down.
It must have been,
Yeah.
maybe.